Welcome to another edition of Diaspora News in Brief. This week, we look at the journey of a popular carnival band to know what happens behind the scenes of the Notting Hill Carnival.
Carnival is an absolutely huge business. If you're sitting at home and you're a caterer, you need to find yourself in Carnival.
We meet an entrepreneur whose passion for Caribbean food has become her own business.
If you've got the best spice mix or the best sauce, put it in a jar, put it in a bag, put it somewhere, go to a market and make people taste it.
Finally, we speak to a business owner who shares the steps to turning your passion into a business.
There's one thing having a great product that you think is great, but are people going to pay for the product? Because if nobody pays for it, it's a hobby.
The Carnival art form display of flamboyant costumes has been part of British cultural landscape for over 50 years. We caught up with the founder of a popular masquerade band who shares what happens behind the scenes of Notting Hill Carnival.
Carnival is a logistical challenge, experience, nightmare. It is because you've got so many moving parts. You have a lorry that needs to have scaffolding put on it, that needs to have sound system put on it, a generator that actually works, that can provide power to the lorry and all the equipment that's on there. You've got your hospitality arrangements, so your fridge, your microwaves, your drink serving area.
Is that all on the
all
truck?
of this on the same truck, right?
Wow.
So and then these moving parts have got to be coordinated the weekend of Carnival. So the lorry will come from somewhere up north, or the trailer for the lorry will come from somewhere up north. Yeah. The driver needs to meet the cab and the trailer, bring that together. The scaffolder needs to put that on, but they also need to leave space so that the equipment can get onto the lorry. Yeah. Then you have the catering people who provide the food. Yes. You've got the guy who mixes the rum punch, the suppliers for the drinks, the manufacturing of the costume, but it begins with the design of the costume. Yeah. So when you see a truck on the road and people go, oh, look at those costumes and look at that truck and look at, it has taken 12 months to plan.
So that one truck there is 12 months of hard work and
absolutely
planning.
And every truck, so you'd see about 70 to 100 trucks on the road. Generally, it's a year's worth of planning. Wow. For each one.
So you're saying that the Carnival, the mass band, is more of a business venture, whereas the general public will just see it as a day of fun, excitement, dancing, music and culture. Can you shed light on how it's a business venture and how can people in general grab hold of this sort of business venture that you see and that you're involved in?
There is a huge business out there, but it's in its infancy. It's in the embryonic stage. Yeah. And part of the business opportunity for the general public is to become what we call IsisMas brand ambassadors. So this is a business model where you, if you're business minded, you bring your crew, your friends. We provide discounts. We provide you with the ability to resell the costumes because there's a huge market out within Carnival, but outside of Carnival. We sell at least, and it's growing, we sell at least 5% of costumes to people who don't participate in the Notting Hill Carnival. And that is a business that people are currently doing. So we have about 5 or 6 brand ambassadors at the moment who are currently doing that and have been doing that for the last about between 3 to 5 years. You also have the supply chain for the bands. So imagine you've got 100 bands at Carnival, that's 100 trucks, 100 generators, 100 sets of scaffolding, 100 sets of sound equipment, 100 sets of catering, 100 sets of security, and you name it, yes, you multiply it down, and it is an absolutely huge business environment. If you're sitting at home and you're a caterer, you need to find yourself in Carnival. If you're a seamstress, if you love designing flamboyant costumes, catering, making homemade brews and stuff, if you're involved, if you've got a trucking company, a generator company, or scaffolding company, you know, contact people in Carnival because there's a huge market for you. So in terms of Carnival as a business, anything that you would do for in the general business sphere, we almost need to help people to take off the blinkers and see Carnival as a normal industry sector. And get involved in Carnival and help us. Maybe, you know, the people who started the Black Directory can get involved and come up with a Carnival directory of suppliers, and that will help people to find new customers, find new business. So I think we in the business need to help to put a face to the supply chain and the industry. But also, if you're sitting at home and you're watching this, there is a place for you can get involved.
Masquerading costumes at Carnival is essential, but equally important is catering. So we spoke to an entrepreneur who's passionate about food for an insight on the do's and don'ts of Caribbean cooking.
For about a year now, I've been running monthly supper clubs. So I get 10 people that come to my home, and I literally cook a 5 courses meal. We show love through food in the Caribbean. So I share my love for my island and for people through the food, but also introduce them to my culture as well. So it's more than food, it's introducing them to my traditions. So we eat specific foods at different times of the year because of tradition. I talk to them about what we produce, about history, how these dishes came about, etc. So it's kind of renewing the love for my islands because I keep discovering things as well, and I share that with people.
So someone hypothetically loves food, they love eating, but they want to be able to do more with that passion for food, and they want to probably turn it into a business. How would you suggest that they go about doing that?
I think they shouldn't do it like me. Initially, when you just throw yourself in the thing and you just don't know what you're doing, you just think, oh, well, I'll just do this.
But it worked for you.
It worked in the end, but I'd suggest they do what I did after I realized that I've jumped into it to like, you know, in such a crazy way. I think what you should do is just basically do it. That's how you do it, but you do it intelligently, where you identify what's your strength, what is it that you actually want to do, would love to achieve. I think before even starting, you need to know what you're trying to achieve. So if you've got a product that you feel you've got the best spice mix or the best sauce, there's room for everyone. Just do it. Put it in a jar, put it in a bag, put it somewhere, go to a market and make people taste it. And, you know, you'll get feedback. Sometimes it's hard to get feedback straight from the horse's mouth, but feedback is good. Even criticism is good.
Yes.
It is actually what you go out there for to make it better. So I think regardless of what it is that you're doing, if it's media, if it's writing, if it's food, it's whatever, just go out there and get it in front of the relevant people and get it done. That's how I approach it.
That's quite interesting. Now, what makes me quite interested about you is that you're quite young. You're obviously not 30 yet. So
Soon to be.
So I'm thinking, why would someone who is not yet 30, who's doing a great job in marketing and so forth, want to leave the security of that job and set up their own business? How has that journey been? How has the transition been for you?
It's been very hard.
I could imagine. Yeah.
It's been very hard. I think it's just a matter of understanding who you are as a person, understanding what you want in life, understanding what makes you happy. I think a lot of people are imprisoned in their life because they think that's what they have to do or what they should do. I use my business to kind of feed my different passions. With the publishing aspect, for example, I write recipes. I've already written my recipe book. I'm in the process of getting it published. So this is one aspect. I love being in front of the camera, so I film my recipes. Yeah. I just cook in front of the camera and hopefully I'll be able to read some. I love talking to people, so I teach at my classes. I love cooking as well, so I cook at my dinners. And I love eating, so I just discover new products, eat them and sell them. So I think, you know, there's ways of like feeding your passion. And I think what makes something a passion rather than a hobby is something that you'd be willing to do day in and day out without even getting paid for it. I think if you were to do something regardless of money, regardless of funding, regardless of facilities, logistics, whatever, what would you be doing? And that's what I would be doing. I would be having my own business and I would be doing this, what I'm doing. And I think that's what makes it successful as well, when you're willing to give it your all, just give it your whole time, your passion, your thinking, your sleep. You're willing to give away your sleep, willing to give away everything and just sacrificing and doing it. Eventually, if you work intelligently, you know, it works out.
So instead of working hard, you work smart.
Ideally, yeah.
Many Africans and Caribbeans struggle to identify what they are passionate about, yet alone making a business of it. We interviewed founder of a business that focuses on helping young people turn their passion into their profession.
Everybody is born impregnated with an idea. So I've worked with the youngest author in the UK at the age of 6. You know, we did a lot when she released 2 books at the age of 6, and we did the PR, we did a lot of work for her. She was in the Evening Standard in the UK. So so I believe that as immediately everyone is born, they are born with an idea. But the only difference is some people take it to the grave. Do you understand? So everyone says, oh, I haven't got anything, but really you have got something. The only difference is some people birth it and some people take it to the grave. So I do for aspiring entrepreneurs what a midwife does for a pregnant woman, which is to bring that baby out. Because it'd be crazy if you see someone that was pregnant for 2 years. And it's crazy, but that's how some of us are. We're pregnant for 80 years. And it's until our deathbed I realized, wait, I could have done nothing. So my job is to, whether it's cesarean, whether it's natural birth, somehow we're going to get that baby out. However we do it, we're going to get that idea out. So that's why they call me the Ideas Midwife, because I help bring out that vision in people.
You spend most of your time focusing on programs to help young people get back into work, I understand.
Yes.
Do you work with external agencies to make that happen? Are there any partnerships, strategic arrangements that you want to mention?
You're right. I mean, one of my organizations is Proten Youth, which is what you've mentioned, which is supporting young people back into work or into self-employment. So I created a program called the Fresh Start Program, which is based on my own journey, how I came out of the streets into enterprise. I mean, into a positive lifestyle using enterprise. So that's what we do with young people, using enterprise to help them to realize their skills. So we run that. I mean, we have partnership with the London Probation Trust. You know, we work with offenders. We have partnership with Department of Works and Pensions, partnership with youth offending teams. So we work with young people that are not just unemployed, but are at the bottom pile. You know, that the people that wouldn't even consider. So if you're looking, to employ, to employ people, you wouldn't even look at these young people, because on the surface they look like they have nothing. Maybe they've dropped out of school, but we've then said, you know what, you've been cast out, but we're going to bring you in. We want you to help you to see what skills you have, using enterprise to help you.
But that must be pretty difficult when you look at the type of kids that we have roaming our streets nowadays. I mean, a lot of them are repeat offenders or recidivists, if for the want of a better word. Some of them look like hardened criminals and they're only teenagers. How do you manage to bring them back into the fold?
I think the main thing is, if you give someone something that they love, you know, when you give someone an opportunity to develop, you know, it's like you put a responsibility on someone to do something that they love. You wouldn't have to chase them, you know. So I come into work sometimes at 7 if I have to. I leave at 7 if I have to, you know, because I love what I do. So if you say to a young person, come on this program, we'll give you £100 to develop a business idea with a group. We found out that they're really interested. I mean, we had a young person that was kicked out of a previous college because he was abusive to a teacher. So they thought he was an aggressive kid. You know, nobody could control him. He came on a program. He was so focused. I mean, now he's gone into work, and he turns up to work early, 30 minutes early all the time. He sustained the work for over 6 months, and even now he's gone into even a better job. You know, so it's just an example of people that people have cast away. And our thing is, look, come in. We're not trying to tell you what you should do. You decide what you want to do, but we empower you to have the confidence and motivation to be able to make that decision, and then we help you into the output, whether it's work, education, or self-employment. So that's why I hone in more on passion, because when you find something that you love doing, because money is not enough to drive a business. You know, yes, money will come, but the time will come where the struggle will be there, and it's passion that gets you through those struggling period. So that's what I've learned from my own experience in business, and that's why I teach on passion.
Now that's a great concept, you know, helping people to bring their ideas to fruition. So how does that actually work? What's the first step, really?
I mean, in my book, Turn Your Passion into a Profession, you know, I do cover the step-by-step process. So I break it down, you know, to the bone, to the bare bone. But I think the first thing you've got to do is find an idea. So, you know, so number one, you know, the first chapter of my book, I know the second chapter, I think, talks about the different ways of finding an idea. You know, number one being from your passion, you know, and I go into detail. People ask me, how do I find out something I'm passionate about? So I go into details about that because you've got to find out what is it that drives you. So about what do you read about? When you were growing up, what is it that people said to you? What is it that people were always saying to you that you're good at? With me, people said to me, you always talk my wife says to me, you talk too much. You know, people, people say to me, I talk, but you know what? I said to myself, hey, if I talk too much, why can't I get paid for talking? Do you understand?
Yeah.
You know, I go to a networking event and I'm the last person in the room because I'm always talking to people, giving them advice. So I said, wait a minute, why can't I get paid for this? So it's about, number one, your passion. Number two, finding a spot in the market. So for example, if you see something that exists somewhere else, how can you bring it into a market that is not being catered for? So for example, if you live in an area and there's no Caribbean restaurant in your area, rather than complain about it, why don't you look at bringing something in that area that can serve the market in that area? You know, and also you can look at a product that's missing something. So for example, if you buy a food and the food is missing a taste, bring out the food with the taste that's missing. If you buy something and it is not doing what it's supposed to do, look at how you can bring that extra thing into it. You know, I've seen people that have gone on a plane and they've seen a bad service on the plane, and they've said, you know, I'm gonna form my own airline. And today they have an airline working, all because they had a bad service. They had a bad service on the plane. So rather than complaining, when you see a problem, convert it to a solution. You know, an opportunity is someone that sees a problem and sees a solution and sees an opportunity in a problem. You know, so that's all it is. So it's number one, find an idea. Number two, check the viability of the idea. Is it going to work? So number one, you know, I have some quick steps of checking that. Number one, do people want the product? Number two, are people going to pay for it? Because there's one thing having a great product that you think is great, but are people going to pay for the product? Because if nobody pays for it, it's a hobby. Yeah. So number one, do people want it? Number two, are people going to pay for it? Number three, is anyone else doing it? You know, just because you think you've got a great idea, check who else is doing it. And number four, what makes you different from the person that's doing it? What makes you different from other people? And number five, do you have what it takes to make it work? Capability. You know, if you don't, build a team. Build a team. You know, if you don't have to have everything. Bring people in that can help you. You know, the money, you have the capital to do it. You have the manpower. You have the experience, the skills, the knowledge. All these things, do you have passion for it? Passion is number one. So you need to ask yourself, do you have the capability to make the idea work? So those are the little things that quickly that you can just, you know, you can ask yourself before you go into a business, because they help you to determine if it's going to work or not. But I mean, there's many other steps that, as I said, that's broken down simply in the book. Choosing your location, setting your prices, how to market your products, everything is laid out in the book. So those are the little steps that I give to people to help them to really get them up and going.
This has been another edition of Carib Direct Diaspora News in Brief. Join us next time for more news, commentaries, and exciting interviews to keep you informed.